And welcome once again to Living in the 21st Century. Joining me today is Cathryn Laduke. She is now the Director for Disabilities and Inclusiveness for the Socioeconomic Development Foundation of Boston. Cathryn, welcome to the show once again.
Thank you for having me again.
Sure. I want to ask you a question. I recognize when it comes to disability and the labor force, there's some uneven balance in terms of paid, both to the personal care attendants and also those who are suffering from the disability. There is some lack of the benefits that they should get to increase their chances at surviving in a better environment. Would you care to expand on that?
Well, I know that we are in a really dark time right now. Mm-hmm. And people with disabilities are severely hurting, and they're really hurting because of this. Mm-hmm. And it's hard to have accessible health care. Mm-hmm. It's hard to have accessible to benefits. Mm-hmm. It's hard to have accessible to find a job, a reasonable job, mm-hmm. because, you know, they don't fairly pay us, or they don't fairly give us a chance to actually shine. You know what I mean?
Yes.
And it's just the benefits that the ADA put centuries ago in place in 1999. That's when it started. And then 2008, it updated. And people with disabilities like mine, that's invisible. And you cannot tell I have a disability, but I do. And people with mental disabilities and people who have learning disabilities is not considered a disability. And I saw that on the internet recently, and I was pretty mad. And I was like, no wonder why I had issues, and I no wonder why there's people having issues, because it's updated, but nobody's following certain things, and it should be back to the 1999 version, because that was a lot more better.
Okay.
Because it was every disability that was included.
Mm-hmm.
That will have the right to health care, benefits, and all that stuff, and the right to go to school and not feel like you're discriminated because you kind of are, and it's just a sad sight to see.
Okay. Well, let me answer this question. You compared back in the 1990s with the access to care for the disabled was much better than it is now. Is there a specific reason for that, or why?
Well,
is it the interference of politics or something?
Well, part of it, that politics makes a good play, and also that we have to wait hours and hours to be seen, because there's people who have medical issues that I have to wait till next year to go see a dermatologist. I have to wait a certain time to get a certain procedure done. Mm-hmm. And I have to be seen and checked. And there's other people that are like me that have to be seen mm-hmm. and checked.
Okay.
It's crazy.
Right. So why you think then there is a delay in such the healthcare atmosphere, that if you need urgent care or you need to be seen by a doctor immediately, that you have to wait for this long period of appointments? Is it that it's some discriminatory act, or is it that there's so much people in line waiting that you
I just
have
feel
to
like
wait?
part of it was it's a discriminatory sense, but the other of it that we're living in these times, mm-hmm. and we're losing our medical freedom, mm-hmm. and we can't even bring one person with us into doctor's offices. I can't bring my mom mm-hmm. into a pre-op room, but at least she can wait in the waiting room. Mm-hmm. But it's just hurtful in these times because you don't know if you're going to return.
Oh, so this is the coronavirus actually making this happen then?
Yeah,
right.
That's why it's mostly enacting mm-hmm. and waking up people, and the ADA is not being enacted for that. And it's not just about the coronavirus. Mm-hmm. It's personal.
Okay.
It's very personal. Mm-hmm. And we have a relative who recently died from it, And, you know, but at the same time, it's also a cause for a worry that, like, I have to go in for a minor procedure and take a pre-op COVID test. And it's just like, it is anxious to not do anything without your mom. But I've been through a lot before, and I know that I want to be that voice out there because it's the hand that I'm dealt with, and I don't have a choice.
Okay.
But
so the delays then, we can actually conclude it's because of the coronavirus that the safety measures and precautions that are being taken necessary to prohibit you from getting your medical treatment in time, but it's some safety net that they put in place to prevent you or someone else from becoming so that's the reason for that. I don't know, I'm asking you.
But it also, at the same time, it's like the medical system is not what it used to be.
Right, okay. I know the lenses of the general public and their eyes, how do they actually view people with disabilities? Do you see a large source of discrimination among the disabled?
Yes. A lot of people view us like we're nothing, and statistically, we're the second most vulnerable community to get harassed by people, and even like the biggest politicians, law enforcement. Like, that's like, we're the second statistically, though. And the first, that statistically gets harassed and discriminated. And that's how the communities between us is connected, in a sense. You know what I mean?
Right, I got you. So that, in some way, put it in a nutshell, that's more some form of bullying from another standpoint. And it may be very well the worst part of bullying, if you ask me, that when we as a nation or a society start to look down on the most vulnerable people in our eyes, the disabled, people that necessarily didn't even put themselves to become disabled, but for some unfortunate circumstance, they become disabled, and
we're not given a choice. We're not given a choice at all.
Exactly. So how would you advise people with disabilities to try to maximize their potential in life and to live a comfortable life despite of their disability? What advice would you have to give to them?
My advice for people that have disabilities and feel like they're alone, you're not. You're not alone. But with us having setbacks, we have very much a reason to fight 2 times harder than the average person.
Right.
We have to just keep fighting. We have to keep really lingering on for hope that change does get better. And the government system, no matter if it's Democrat or Republican, they must be made to care because they don't.
Right.
Both sides does not care.
Right.
And it's just, at the end of the day, we know that Joe Biden does have a plan, but we don't know if he's going to act on it as soon as he gets elected.
Right.
And I hope he hears this.
Okay. Well, I agree absolutely.
Just saying.
One of the things, if we end up having a majority Republican Senate.
That's true.
That is going to pose...
It's going to be tough.
It's going to be tough. We understood that Joe Biden and...
But I just feel like both sides be made to care. I think it's just on both ends. Democrat, Republican, Congress, and the Senate. Well, I feel like they both agree on that type of thing, to be in a sense that they don't want to see that the disabled people are really hurting in this crisis.
Well, I hope for the best, because I'll tell you why. I understood that history would have proved that Joe Biden had a way of working with Republicans, even as a Democrat.
He had a history with that, I agree.
So I hope that he can, despite of Trump's party
and all the tensions, and
that he can actually restore things
and keep everybody together.
Exactly. Well, he wouldn't be able to keep everybody together, but at least be in a position to get some things done, because we need to restore
this
the
nation.
Affordable Care Act. We need to
We
make
do.
sure we build that. Some amendments, I must agree that there are some amendments need to be made to the Affordable Care Act.
And there's got to be stronger rights for the First Amendment, the right to use your voice, to act, to protest peacefully, not violently.
Real right. I believe that 100% also. Yes, I think one of the hindrances, even though we have the right to protest and protest peacefully,
That
and
is
kind of
true.
stuff, I believe one of the hindrances is that when you do that, it is just a next march, a next protest. It happened for a day or two, then it gets swept under the carpet. No one cares anymore about it. It happened, it gone, it's finished.
But it's not finished.
And it is not finished. And that's the problem that we have
In this country.
In this country. You can't expect to do one thing over and over again and get a different result. You're going to get the same result every time you go at it. And that's why we end up in these protests, is that you have people looting and people burning buildings down. It wasn't so before, but...
Jumping on police cars.
Right. So when these things happen, it is something beyond just marching peacefully. People have come to a breaking point.
That's
right?
true.
Where they say, enough is enough. And you only get the message when we light this place on fire. And it's sad to say.
It is sad to see,
sometimes
but it's portrayed
a fireman
message.
has to fight fire with fire to end a fire. And it's a bad thing to do. But it works all the time they do that. So
it has been working, to tell you the truth. Yeah, I don't condone the looting and the firing, but it's working.
I don't condone it either. But it grabs the attention of the people.
That's the thing. And my sister told me that it's just like that she like, we don't condone it, but it's a message. Like it's a hurt message that everybody's hurting.
Yes.
And nobody's listening. But with my view, it's just no side, political side, or even our own government is not listening to the people that are keeping this country going.
Right, but that's true. And however you dice it, however you look at it, you always have the minority versus the majority. And when they build rules and when they make regulations and pass laws and the Constitution, trust me, it's supposed to keep everybody together, but the reality, it don't work that way. It always have a way of messing the majority lives up. And that's a proven fact. They build laws to protect the wealthy, even though it appears to keeping law and order among the majority.
That's true.
So that's another thing. But I would love to move on to look at people in nursing homes, right? We recognize that we had a lot of deaths due to this coronavirus in nursing homes. Then people want to refrain from going to the nursing homes and working, and it had placed some form of stress on finding staff to work with these elderly people. What, in your opinion, or do you have any ideas that...
I understand their frustration, but because I used to work in a nursing home once, and I thought me or my mom got the coronavirus in January.
Right.
Because we were very, very sick that month. And I got a job at that time at FIBA, and it was sad to see about the neglectment and how they neglect elderly people.
Yes.
It broke my heart. And I know that when you're in healthcare, you have to have a thick skin, and I know that. But it's always been hard for me because I'm just a caring person, and I don't like seeing people hurt, and especially people with dementia that don't even know what's going on, and people are dying because of this. And I just hope that they could hang in there, and just like to be honest, it's truly heartbreaking that nursing homes is not happening. There's no protection or bill
Right.
from the government to make sure abuse at nursing homes doesn't happen, to make sure people don't die like what's happening now. But with this happening, ever since the coronavirus, it woke up to so many issues. Racism, it woke up to the nursing home problems with abuse, and nobody reporting on coronavirus in nursing homes until now.
Right. Did you think that at the beginning of this virus, that the nursing homes took it seriously? Or they only began to
at
take
first,
it seriously?
No. But I think now, they're probably picking themselves back up, the nursing homes that are affected by it, and I think that hopefully they'll be hiring new people. Because they have to hire new people over the people that weren't keeping watch of how many cases that were going on at the home.
Oh, okay. Okay. So one of the things I was getting at is that when staff refuse to continuously work under the roofs of nursing homes, so to speak, and there's a deficiency of health care channeling to every individual patient, what you think the nursing homes should do at this point, or management rather at the nursing home should do at this point? Because it's a struggle now for staff. People ain't satisfied anymore going and working for 14 or...
I just feel like they need to be more vigilant, and if they really want, they're dedicated workers who put so much blood, sweat, and tears to help people. If they want them to keep their employees, they would do anything to try to make the work environment safe for them and better for the people that they're caring for.
Okay.
So that's just basically what I think.
Okay. Well, you make a good point, because that's why I asked in the first beginning if they had took it seriously, and because the result of that, more people had ended up dying from the nursing homes, and hence you had employees starting to run because things just didn't line up in order.
No.
But I think though...
And they were scared, and I understand they're scared and they don't know what to do.
Right. Well, yes, but it was played down quite a bit from leadership.
It was played
in this
down,
country.
And even though it started in a foreign country, it was played down, and we couldn't have controlled it. It was. I agree with that.
Right.
That it was played down, and we shouldn't have controlled it in January, or none of this would have happened. I think that wouldn't have happened, though.
Okay. Right.
But I agree.
That's okay.
I agree with that, but at the same time, it's just like, yeah, you just like have to really reflect on, how this virus started, but at the same time, we didn't act on it the way it should be, and we need to be more accountable when another pandemic comes around.
Absolutely.
To act on it and have the right leadership. And I'm starting to believe, I hope that when Joe Biden does get elected, we have to give him a chance. We do have to give him a chance.
Yes, because this is not going to disappear overnight. It's going to take time. And I hope by then people start to follow all
the
safety
rules.
Precautions.
And he's a better role model to take care of the
Yes.
pandemic, because he's wearing a mask and he's following protocol. And you have to do that
Yes.
if you're the president.
That's correct. One other question I want to go over to now is you just take up the position for Director for Disabilities and Inclusiveness for the Socioeconomic Development Foundation of Boston. Congrats on that.
Thank you.
And I know you're planning to write articles to enable those who were disabilities to view things a little bit differently. What are some of those articles or titles of those articles that you're looking at writing?
Well, I know the articles that we've been in contact on Facebook, I'm probably going to put that in writing eventually and put all of it at the same time with my first article to put on the site later next week.
Okay.
That's what I'm planning to do for the first article for the website.
Right, okay.
But I'm just putting what comes in my mind on Facebook first and putting what's in my mind on paper, because I want to make sure I can lay out a bunch of articles
Right.
and make sure the word gets out. And I want to make sure I write with my heart. I can't write with my brain.
Okay.
You have to write with your heart.
Absolutely. Okay.
And it's just like my best writing comes with my heart because I love writing. I'm
Yes.
writing a book. So I think I told you that the first episode.
Right.
I'm writing a book, and this articles are going to help me piece together
Right.
that. But at the same time, I hope we can work together
Yes.
eventually, and I'm honored to work with you.
Okay.
And I hope we can work together and make progress to hopefully we can make the governments and people listen
Yes.
to us.
Right.
This is a movement.
Okay, great. You know, one thing I would like to look at, and even though as we speak this very minute, there are, and this concerns me a lot because I work in the healthcare field also. There are those who are right now disabled, and I'm focusing a lot on the disabled, who are going through some form of pain, whether it's mentally or physically. And they're hoping right now that their personal care attendant come to their apartment or come where they are and help them get up this morning or to a meal or to take their clothes to the laundry or to go to the supermarket and purchase some groceries for them. And that personal care attendant said, I had enough of this. I'm not getting paid enough to endanger my life to get a virus, because in the nursing homes or some those who have
Or go
independent
to
living,
homes for people that have
right?
COVID.
Exactly, they are exposing themselves. Not that the person may necessarily have the virus, but the potential is there, and they are deciding whether or not should I go. What happens in the event that person decide they're not going to work this morning or they're quitting their job, and that person may very well in need of a breakfast this morning? Disabled people who are now faced with this sudden, abrupt behavior, what is a comforting word would you want to say to that person?
That is alone, and is not having access to that type of care because
Right.
they're afraid of getting things themselves.
Right.
All I could hope for, honestly, is to hopefully they could just keep the faith and just hope things do get better.
Okay. Is this a decorum or behavior pattern that now in these times, if someone's going to quit their jobs, rather than just getting up one morning and say, I have enough of this, I'm not doing it anymore, should they say to their employee, who is the disabled person at this point, because there are those who
They should
have
be
independent
informed.
living, could they say, well, listen, I'm going to leave you at least in a week time. You have a week to find someone, because I'm not going to be sticking around here anymore. I think my life is at risk, potentially. And this is all fair and this
I
is all
feel like
good.
it's a bit offensive, though, if they tell you without notice.
Well, if they abruptly leave without giving the person at least a week, I mean, people normally ask for 2 weeks' notice if it's a weekly wage earning job or a bi-weekly earning job. Normally gives them notice, well, look, I'm going to leave in a week's time or 2 weeks' time, whatever the case may be. Don't you think that there should be some mercy involved there?
There should be some extent of mercy to the person that's having issues, that they deserve to have someone better. They do deserve to have someone better.
Right.
But at the same time, the person that wants to leave should give them notice. And I understand that they're frustrated in return, but it's not the person with issues' fault that this virus is happening and all these issues that are happening. But there's people with disabilities and medical conditions that still need help.
Right.
And
well, absolutely.
it's incredibly sad.
Absolutely. And also I must add to that is that I think if people are going to go into health care, feel just to earn a salary or earn a wage, and that's it, that's the bottom line, just don't go. I think that the health
Or don't pursue the job if you don't want to do the job. Don't do it. If you don't like disabled people and you don't like them at all and you're going to be awful to them, don't take it. Because if they do, then you're wasting your time.
Correct. Correct. Absolutely.
And that makes me annoyed. If people want to work with people, especially when people have issues, they have to have patience and the time, and they have to have some empathy, and there's not a lot of empathy left in this world, sadly. And I hope there will be once things start to die down.
Okay.
Eventually.
Okay. All right. So we want to just look at the safety precautions that everyone should take during this time, because there are still a whole lot of people out there who believe that this virus is a hoax. And they're walking around with masks on their face, they're not washing their hands, and they're spreading the virus and messing people's lives up. What would be your advice in telling people the importance of wearing a face mask, washing their hand, doing their due diligence to ensure that they give a shot to everybody that they come in contact with?
And we can go back to normal life as we should, because the more we ignore these rules, we're not going to get back to normal at all. And it is important to wear a mask, and now more than ever, and now that me and my family have witnessed things and how germs can get passed to people, that like it is important to wear a mask, to wash your hands, and to wash your hands even when this virus is over. Because it's not hard to do proper hand hygiene, because it really isn't.
Okay. Well, do you think when Joe Biden came into power, even if he put a rule out there stating, or a mandate out there stating everyone has to wear a face mask, because of, assumingly, Trump lose the election,
Which he will.
do you think in retaliation that those said people say to hell with it, I am not wearing a face mask, I'm going to spread what I can spread, I am supporting Trump still?
I think it's really crazy though, because like the thing is, what he's putting out is not presidential. And it shouldn't. He shouldn't do that.
I agree, absolutely.
It's just, you know, and I hope when Biden does take power, he can try to make people that don't support him care about the rules.
Yes, I think he will do a good job.
I hope so.
Yes. Well, look, Cathryn, it's an honor, a pleasure having you here on the show.
And let's just remember this: we got to stick together, not let bullies and not let people overtake us, and have rights for everybody. People with disabilities have rights. Have Black people have the rights for their protection and everything else. So I really hope so.
Thank you. Well, on that note, I want to say thank you once more again, and we look forward to working with each other. And to all those who have been tuning in, I want to say have a nice day. Bye-bye.